This is a 2025 V-Cruise by OGV Vans. This is a 2025 V-Cruise by OGV Vans. This is made by Forest River. Today I'm going to do a walkthrough and orientation, show you most of its major systems. Let's get to it. We're going to start here on the left front of the van. So here, here at the left front is where we fuel the van, right here. Additionally, right here is where we pop the hood, the lever right there, that releases the hood. There's an additional release here, and that gets us to this cap where we add our depth fluid. Windshield washer fluid there. Now going towards the back, here is where we attach our 30 amp short cord. Here is where we attach our city water. This is also where we add water to our onboard water tank. That is dependent on how we orient this blue valve. So normally this valve is going to be pointed this way, like it is now. The only time you're going to move this valve this way is when you want to direct water that's connected here into fill your onboard water tank. Water from here, if you connect the water hose here, that will be sent to pressurized water to flush your black tank. Then you have an outlet here. Coming towards the back. In the back we have some 12-volt fuses under this cover. They're all labeled. This is just this is not something that's meant for the end user to get into. Electronics. There are some fuses in there. We have our refrigerator. Now this refrigerator runs on 12-volt power. There is a button to turn on the power to this. Now in here, there is, see that dial there? That's to adjust the temperature. But the main power is going to be in the front. We'll see that here in a minute. It's got a little freezer section. There's also a little lock. It does have a latch here that'll keep it closed primarily, but there is a lock for added security. There's a water pump button there, as well as a light for these lights up here. There's the light and the water pump are also controlled from the touch screens inside that we're going to see here shortly. The toilet is a conventional foot flush toilet. Toilet paper holder. Now this is also not necessarily meant for the end user to get into, but that is where our inverter goes. Our Apple TV unit is actually in there. Again, that is not meant for the end user to really get into. There are some fuses in there. There is a vent up there. Now that vent is a manual vent. You basically grab that white handle, push up, and that opens the hood. There's a black button on the right side. Press the black button and that turns on the fan motor. That is an exhaust vent. And that's to exhaust fumes, right? Or fumes. So also in here can be found a sink, as well as an outlet. Important thing about so there's an AC duct. That is that round duct that you see right there. That round duct is for the air conditioning on the RV. So the air conditioning unit is at the very front of the rig. So because it is located at the very front of the rig, and this duct is at the most rear of the van, the reality is that because it is at the very most rear of the van, it's probably not a lot of airflow that you're going to get out of this vent. So just putting it out there, it's not very powerful air you're going to get out of this. So you can increase the airflow by closing some of the other vents inside the van. So just wanted to make that clear. At the back, you'll see you got a couple different cameras up there. That round looking thing up there, that is your TV antenna. Here at this corner, see right there, that is where you dump your waste. That handle, you simply pull that handle. You simply pull. You don't twist, you just pull. It's a gate valve, and that is where you attach your hose. Standard sewer hose. They don't come in different sizes. It's just a standard sewer hose, 3.5-inch sewer hose. There is also a hitch right here, hidden behind this cover. Now the door on this Sprinter chassis van is electric. So do not tug on this door. This door is electric. So meaning I simply give it a small tug and it opens for us. If you try to tug on it like a manual door, you're going to possibly damage the electric mechanism in there. So when you're going to close it, you just simply, another little tug. You want to stop it, another little tug, stop it. Or we can press this red button here. Right? Now let's go ahead and come on in. Here in the van, we're going to go over a few things. So to operate the van, so in the front we have typical Mercedes stuff. We'll go over that in a minute. The back of the van has the, you know, I won't say RV because this is not a full RV, but well, we're going to go ahead and say RV stuff. So the RV stuff back here, if you're going to use this stuff back here, like the TV, like these touch screens, like the lights back here, if you're going to use this stuff, you have to have the power on, and that involves this button, this power button. That's the power button. If I turn that off, all this stuff back here turns off, including these touch screens. This other button, this is a refrigerator button. That turns on the power to the refrigerator button. This turns on the power to the refrigerator we just saw back there. So they give you a separate button for the refrigerator in case that you're not using any of this stuff in the back, but you do have some soft drinks in the refrigerator that you want to keep cold. Okay, so you can't do that separately. So keep that in mind. The refrigerator is a 12-volt refrigerator, so it's not like it uses propane or it uses 110 volts or anything like that. So it operates straight off the batteries that it has for the back. There are two separate battery systems, one for the engine that's part of the Mercedes stuff, and then a separate battery system that's for the RV stuff back here. But that's what these two buttons are about. So that being said, let's move on. So back here, of course, we have our 4 captain's chairs in addition to the 2 captain's chairs over here. So we have a total of 6 plus these benches back here that make into beds back here. We also have these cool lap trays that pull out like so. We have a total of 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. Cup holders. The seats are heated with that little dial that's right there. This one has them. The ones for back here are there, and this seat has it on the side of the seat. And these seats, the third row seats, have they have like leg rests. Now additionally, there is here next to this third row is you have your Fusion radio. That's that right there. We're going to turn it on by pressing this button. Now this Fusion radio, I just turned it on. You can see it takes a minute or so for it to come on fully, so it's still in the process of turning on. You can turn it on from these touch screens around the bus. So these touch screens, there are, I believe, a total of 4. There's one at the very front overhead. There's one right here in the second row. There's this one right here in the third row, and then there's the master screen that's back there. That one's recessed into the wall back there. 3 of the 4 can be removed. They're basically like tablets. You can take them off, put them back like that. They're magnetic and they'll recharge when you put them back on their base. They're basically like little Garmin tablets. Looks like our radio has come online. Now this radio is now this radio has multiple sources, as you can see there: AM, FM, aux 1, aux 2, Bluetooth, optical. It's also capable, you can add satellite to it. It's got an input for a satellite tuner, as well as, you know, you can you see right here up above there is a HDMI connector, so you can connect any HDMI input to it, and that will feed HDMI into it, and that will actually, you can broadcast that into the TV over here, I believe on HDMI 1. So so right now we're getting, like for example, we're getting the FM radio on this on the sound system in the van. However, if you want to hear the sound, like for example, if we want to get the sound from the TV, we have to set the input here to aux 1.
Top customers always do a prank on Halloween.
And now we have the sound from this show that's on the TV, right? So it's all about having the appropriate input. Now, regarding this touchscreen, so this touchscreen, you'll see you have a number of headings here. You have home, lights, climate, fluids, power. So under the home screen, we see we can turn off lights by pressing that button. Turns off all the lights. Turn them back on. Here we can see our fresh tank. That's our potable water we carry with us. See how much water is in there. We can see there's a little bit of water in the black tank. That's our wastewater, right? We can also see our water pump. That's our on-demand water pump. That's what pressurizes the water, so we can have water at the sink and water to flush our toilet. We can see that we have a tank heater. That is our, you know, basically these two tanks that we're looking at there, the fresh tank and the black tank, have what basically what it amounts to like a like an electric blanket that is glued to the underside of these two tanks that heats the tanks. So if you're in like freezing weather, you might want to turn that on to keep them from freezing, so damage does not occur to the tanks. So that's what that's all about. So, and then adjacent to that here we have where we can turn on the radio. So if I press that power button, it's going to turn this radio on, right, that we just looked at. So, and you might be asking, well, what's the point to turning the radio on if I can just turn it on from there? Well, there's no point from here, but there is a point to it if you do it from one of those screens over there that are further away. That's why you have that there. We also have this light heading, gives you control from the, you know, you can access control to the different lights. So all these different lights have individual control. From this lighting page, we can also control the air conditioning, right? Fluids. We can see the tanks, basically the same page that we saw on this home page. And then power tells you in-depth information about the electrical stuff. Not typically something you're going to need to look at. But it particularly, but most of the information you're really going to need is going to be on the home page. There's not really a need to look at other stuff. Hope that makes sense. So that's the majority of the stuff you're going to need to know about this van. You do have other stuff like storage up overhead. And as I mentioned previously, these little benches, you can pull this up and this will like extend out to midway here and lay flat. And when you do that with both of these, they basically make a bed going across. So if somebody wants to, you know, make this into a bed, take a nap, you can do that on a long road trip. And that has a little bit of storage under each of these. There is a breaker box with resettable 110 breakers under this section here. And the shades are all manual. You just pull up. And of course that door leads to the bathroom and the bathroom area that we saw from the back. This bag has all owner's manuals and whatnot that we saw earlier. This van comes with a total of 4 key fobs, Mercedes key fobs. So there's 1 up front and there's 3 additional there along with all the Mercedes owner's manuals. Okay, now we're going to come up front and discuss a little bit about the Mercedes chassis. So the Mercedes chassis is the standard Mercedes Sprinter chassis that many of you might already be familiar with, but we'll talk a little bit about it anyway. So the steering wheel here has a lot of neat controls that will help you on road trips where it's very easy to navigate if you know these controls here. So you see these little black squares here. They're like mouse pads on a laptop. They're touch sensitive, so you can swipe across this little black pad and it controls this screen over here. So for example, just by swiping my finger, you see how I can move that screen by swiping my finger across it. It's like a mouse pad. Then it's got a little back button, so I can back up from that screen, then swipe across. And then it's got a home button that'll take me to the home screen. So this allows you to do a lot of stuff just by using your thumb here without taking your hands off the screen. And then this one over here controls this screen over here, right? So this one you can control stuff there and select stuff. You can control stuff there. So it's pretty neat the way they've designed this, so you can control stuff just by using your thumbs right here. Additionally, you have your seat controls over here on the door to adjust your seat and memory functions. Window stuff here, air conditioning controls here in the center. In addition to these controls on the steering wheel, you can also use your fingers it's a touch screen on the radio, so you can just navigate using your fingers. You can also use buttons. You can just press buttons to control stuff. So there's multiple ways to control stuff. You have a volume control here, or you also have a scroll wheel here for the volume. So there's multiple ways to control everything. There is a button here. This button opens the door, the sliding door on the side that we came in through. So when you roll up somewhere, you want to let guests in, you press that button and that'll electrically open over there. So that's pretty neat and useful. So that's neat little function to have, and we discussed what those two buttons do: the master power for the back and the refrigerator button. And of course our push to start button is there, and our key fob, which must be in the front cab area, otherwise the vehicle will not start. One important thing you should know: so if this is not up front, the vehicle will not start, right? So a lot of modern cars are like that. This transmits a frequency that the computer that's under this dash recognizes. There may come a day where you put your foot on the brake and press the start button to start it like you normally would, and the vehicle does not start. It gives you a message on the dash saying, like, put the key up front, or it's not going to start. And you're thinking, well, the key is up front, what's going on? And you're in a predicament, like, what's going on? The key is up front, why will it not start? One of two things has happened: either the battery's dead in the fob, therefore it's not transmitting the signal it normally does, but for a fact that the battery is good. So another thing could be happening. So sometimes you could be in an area where there is a lot of radio interference, where this fob is not able to, the radio transmission from the fob is not getting to the computer, the Mercedes computer. So what do you do in a case like that? It's not getting to the computer, and now you're stuck. The van will not start. In a case like that, it's very simple, but if you do not know what to do, you're basically stuck. You don't want to have to call Mercedes roadside assistance for that. So you're going to get this fob, and down at the center of this dash, there's a little hole, there's a little receptacle that's made to receive this fob. It fits perfectly right at the bottom of the dash at the center. Put it in. It just fits perfectly. So put it all the way in, nice and flush, and put your foot on the brake and start the vehicle. It'll start right up. It bypasses the radio signal. Start right up. Once it starts, take it right back out, and you'll probably never have that problem again. It's rare, but it does happen every now and then. So it's a way to bypass that system. So important thing to note, to know if that ever happens. So at any rate, so that's going to bring us to the end of this tour. I hope that helps you out. Do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel at the link below. My name is Frank, and I'm with the RV Shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Have a fantastic day.